You're listening to the Public Health Entrepreneurs Podcast with your host, Dr. Charlotte Huntley. I'm going to share with you what actually changed when one of my clients went from earning $50,000 to $150,000 in revenue in their business. Welcome to Public Health Entrepreneurs. This is the podcast for visionary leaders who are ready to transform public health and healthcare through innovation. I'm your host, Dr. Charlotte Huntley, and as a public health entrepreneur with over 25 years of experience in healthcare and public health, I understand the unique challenges and opportunities that come with bridging multiple disciplines. I've been sharing a lot with you about strategic planning for your business over the last couple of episodes, preparing your business for the next quarter and the next year. In this episode, I'd like to share a story with you. I want to tell you about a client, and we'll call her Maria. When Maria came to me, she was stuck at about $50,000 a year in revenue. So what I'm referring to here is her business earnings, not what she's paying herself, but the revenue that the business, the income coming into her business is what we're referring to when I say revenue. Okay, so $50,000 a year is about where she was. She was working all of the time, evenings, weekends, saying yes to every client who came her way. Now, on paper, she was busy. In reality, she was exhausted, resentful, and seriously considering going back to just her full-time job with benefits, which seemed really cozy and comfortable to her at that time. She'd say, I don't understand. And in that first call, she's like, I'm working harder than I ever did as an employee. Why isn't this working? Now, there's no judgment here because at the very beginning of business, a lot of us are saying yes to a lot of things. That's how we figure out what we like, what works, what have you. But as the traction starts to pick up, we take on more clients. It really becomes exhausting doing all of these things. And so she's like, why isn't this working? I asked her one question. Do you have a plan? She laughed, not because it was funny, but because the answer was so obvious. No, like she didn't have a plan. It was that thing that we do at the beginning, saying yes to everything. She was reacting to whatever came next, chasing every opportunity, saying yes to everything because she was afraid to say no. Again, no judgment. This is how a lot of us get started. That's when everything changed. I walked Maria through a strategic planning process. Not some complicated corporate exercise, but a simple, clear framework designed specifically for mission-driven entrepreneurs. Now, together, we looked at where she was actually in her business, not where she wished she was or thought she should be, but where she actually was. We got honest about what she was tolerating. You know, those things that you're just putting up with. You don't really like it, but you just keep doing it. The clients who drained her energy, the processes that took way too long, the fact that she didn't or hadn't even paid herself consistently in months. Then we did something that scared Maria. We set a stretchy goal. Now, I've been through this many times with coaches that I've had. I've walked my clients through this many of times. And in Maria's case, she wanted to hit $75,000 the next year. It felt ambitious, but achievable. I looked at her and said, double it. 150,000? That's impossible. That was her response. And I looked at her, I was like, is it though? Or does it just feel uncomfortable? There's a big difference. Now, what happened next? Let me just share with you. Maria set the goal, $150,000. Not because it felt comfortable, but it was more because it made her feel excited and nervous and a little scared all at the same time. For me personally, that's when I know I'm in the right place, when it's kind of an equal mix of excitement and a little bit nervous and scared all together. That's usually like a good sign that I'm in the right place. So she set the goal and then we broke it down. Not into 12-month plan, that's a little too overwhelming, but into 90-day chunks. Quarters. So the quarter one target was $37,500. That meant she needed to close 3 specific consulting contracts and launch one small group program that she had been working on. Suddenly, the impossible felt possible. But here's the part that surprised Maria the most. The goal wasn't what changed everything. The plan wasn't what changed everything. What changed everything was the clarity. Once Maria had a plan, decisions became easy. A potential client wanted to hire her, but they weren't her ideal fit, and the project would eat up all of her time. She could say no because she knew it didn't serve her Q1 goal, her Q1 goal. It becomes really easy to know when to say yes and when to say no when you have clarity and a clear plan in place. An opportunity to speak at a conference came up, but it didn't pay and didn't lead to the right clients. She could simply say no because it didn't align with her plan. So Maria stopped saying yes to everything and started saying yes to the right things. By the end of Q1, she hit $40,000 in revenue, ahead of target. By mid-year, she was on track for $160,000 in revenue. She'd exceeded her impossible goal. I'm using air quotes. But here's what Maria says was the real transformation. She said, I stopped feeling like my business was running me. For the first time, I felt like I was running my business. That's the power of a strategic plan when it's done right. Not just setting goals, not just writing intentions, actually having a plan. I'm going to show you exactly how to create your own plan. The same process Maria used, the same process dozens of public health entrepreneurs have used to move from overwhelmed to intentional. But here's what you need to know. This isn't about working harder. It's about working with clarity. It's about knowing where you're going so that you can make decisions with confidence instead of fear. It's about breaking your big goals into 90-day actions so that they feel achievable instead of overwhelming. It's about designing a business that sustains you and your mission. Now think about Maria's story. What would it mean for your business if you had absolute clarity on your direction? If you knew exactly what to focus on each quarter? If you could make decisions with confidence instead of second guessing everything? Now hold that thought because help is on the way. I want you to check your inbox for more details. If you happen to be listening to this episode right as it's being released in this time frame, check your inbox. If you're listening to this episode after November 7th, then check the show notes page for this episode to get the details, because this program that we're putting together, the help that is on the way, comes in two forms. Either you can join me live for that assistance, or you can get this assistance on demand. Either way, the help is going to be available to you very soon. Remember that you can always reach out to us directly at publichealthentrepreneurs.com. We're here to help. All right, everyone. Until next time, have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you for listening. Visit publichealthentrepreneurs.com to learn more.